Well, here's a larger shaper guard. I've got to finish cleaning it up and get some paint on it. Still have to drill the hinge holes. They've got to be drilled and reamed. And then drill and tap for the knob on the front of it. Goes in right there. And I'll probably list this on the website later today and then get pictures of it probably tomorrow after it's painted up. Well, good morning. Another little Fleabay edition. I haven't even looked at stuff this morning, so you're going to see everything that I see as we go through it here. Last couple of days I've seen a few things listed. One seller that's obviously been selling for quite a while or been on eBay for quite a while. Got some parts listed here. I believe they're for a shaper. A little bit of a misrepresentation there, so we'll get into those. And let's just see what else we see here. So if we look under mills, oh, now somebody's got a set of indexing centers here. Yeah, this is new stuff here. Let's see what we've got. Okay, this is from a seller that's been selling for a while. We've looked at some of his stuff here, and I kind of question these a little bit sometimes, what he's selling and the way he's selling them, but nonetheless, a set of index centers. Let's see what the description says. Oh, milling machine index centers as pictured. On one end, the hand wheel advances and retracts the quill while holds a removable center with a Morris taper shank. Locking handle clamps the quill. On the other end, the index gear is mounted on the spindle. The point of the spring-loaded plunger engages the slots between the gear teeth, and a locking handle clamps the spindle. The plunger is mounted on a bracket that slides to accommodate different size gears. The two gears that are included are 44 and 56. They have 3/4 inch diameter holes with key slots. Condition the hand wheel. Oh, the hand wheel handle is missing, but otherwise everything else is in good use condition as seen in the pictures. No breaks or cracks. The hand wheel, quill, spindle, lock handles, and plunger all work as they should. The paint appears to be original but slightly chipped. This came with an Atlas mill that turned out to be too far gone. Now, this is the one that's parting out that mill that he started working on and decided he was too lazy to finish it, so he's been selling parts. Now, there's an awful lot of parts that he's listing here that maybe all from the same machine. I'm seeing an awful lot of parts that came off of this one machine, so maybe this is all from one machine purchase that he made. I know he's got at least one other machine, he's said before. So, you know, what does he have and what does he not have? So anyway, let's look at these pictures full size and see what we've got here. Okay, the tailstock looks complete with the exception of the little handle that goes on it. Now it almost looks like on the headstock end that the bolt assembly that's going to lock the gear on and everything on the back end, that looks to be maybe not original. Let's look at that. When we get there, it's got the drive dog. It's a complete machine, basically. It's in used condition. You know, you see these guys jacking up the prices here. So there's the first picture. Everything looks relatively complete. You know, it's going to be a functional center. Second picture shows the back side of what would be the headstock end. Used condition. Everything's there. It's not in great condition. But it's in very good condition for the way we normally see these. Yeah, I believe the little nut that they're using to lock the gears onto the headstock end is probably a shop-made part, which all it realistically does is hold the gear on to index. Yeah, I don't see anything exceptionally wrong with the whole assembly. one of the hold down bolts, looking at the bottom, is a shop made, at least one of them, which doesn't make a bit of difference. It's got the index keys on. It's got 3 of the 4 index keys. That's what we've got. So, you know, I don't know that that would be a good set of index centers. It's up to $305. I don't know where it started. This just got listed. It's got 6 days and 11 hours left, so it got listed sometime yesterday evening or last night. You know, it's guys will get in a feeding frenzy over this, I would imagine. You know, set of index centers, maybe $400. I wouldn't be given any more for that, although this I would expect that people will drive those up. But the reality with these index centers is, while they're a neat accessory, I'm still finishing up my set of index centers that I produced for on my mill, just so I could have one or have a set of them. It's not an exceptionally useful attachment. Yes, it's designed for the Atlas mill. You know, you're almost better off with a rotary table with a tailstock on it. You can do the same thing with that basically as you can with this. And that's part of the reason that I purchased that 5-inch rotary table that I have. While I'm not super happy with that table, it will do everything plus more that this set of index centers will do. So, you know, pays your money, takes your chances. So that's new. Now here, I will bet, here's the castings that probably go with that same mill. Yep, same guy. Yeah, it looks to be the same color, so that set of index centers may very well be the same one. You know, it's $50 a starting bid, $96 standard shipping. It's not worth buying. You know, you cannot realistically, it's not economically feasible to reassemble one of these machines, and there's no reason that there's nothing on the main casting that you're going to be able to use. Now, this is an earlier casting. It doesn't have the let's look at the description before we do anything else here. Main casting is pictured, gives the overall dimensions, about 36 pounds. Included are the Atlas nameplate, the rack gear, and the bolts that attach this casting to the base of the machine. Big deal. You know, I'm sorry. This is one of those we've done a disservice by parting out this machine. Shows the base casting. Earlier base casting, there's no coolant door on the backside. You know, they had the coolant door there. It's a good, honest casting, but it's not going to do you any good. At one time, it had probably some sort of a military or one of the extra little nameplates down below the Atlas serial number badge, model and serial number badge. I see two drive rivets that are in there and have been painted over. Yeah, this is an MF. There's a couple big divots where it's been whacked and the label's all bent out of shape. Model MF 1691. See, this would have been very similar to my current mill that's done, I believe. Now this has been butchered up, or they've done something here. There's a plate on the back side of this casting. Where your guards and mount would have gone. Let's see if I can get back here and see this, that I have never seen before. And now I'll have to investigate that further. I have never seen one like that. It's held on with hex bolts. It almost looks to me like someone's taking some sort of a casting, and you can't tell from looking at it, but looking at from the inside, there was a picture here. Okay, it shows the rack on the front. This would be the back side. Now this is where the access door for coolant would normally mount. looks kind of factory back there, but I've not seen this door here. Now we've got a boss. That's confusing to me. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure, because normally the door would be, for the coolant access, would be right here. That's where they put it on the later machines. I'll have to go out and compare that to mine a little bit and see what I see. We'd better save that one just so we can go back and reference it again. But they're not worth buying. You know, I mean, if you've got a machine already, there's no reason you need a base casting. Same way with the base casting, $50 and $21.90 shipping. Yeah, it's a good base casting. But there again, why would you need a base casting? Yeah, it came from an Atlas mill that turned out to be too far gone for restoration. No, it wasn't. You had a complete machine. It should have been restored. Okay, let's move on. Nothing else under mills. Now under shapers, and there's some things that are listed under mills that still fall under shapers, and nothing's been listed here since I looked yesterday. First one's a new old stock Atlas 7B metal shaper milling machine, S7 79 rod, new open box, $42 and $4.95 shipping. So new old stock, 2 available, $42. No, you're being ripped off. The description says, and there's several listings here, for sale Atlas 7B metal shaper S7-79 rod, new old stock item, never used. 2 available. See factory drawing for usage, will be mailed in a well-padded bag, sold as is, no warranty or returns. See my other auctions for miscellaneous Atlas 7B replacement parts, combined shipping discounts. Okay, so this is that seller that I've not seen anything listed for a while from him, or oh yes, I do remember this name. Now this may very well be a new old stock item. The reality is nothing ever goes wrong with these, so if you've got one at all, it's the proper one. Now they use this same rod on the counter shafts of the lathe, of the 10-inch lathe. They used it on this is the feed drive for the table traverse. And I don't believe they used them on the mill, but anyway, this is pretty much a universal part. If they used any kind of a link like this, this is a link. The only differences were in the bosses here or the bushings that went in the end, and the internal dimensions. There's, I think, 2 different ones on those. So that's what they are now in used condition, and the used condition is going to work just as well as this. You're gonna paint this if you're gonna put it on your machine to match your machine. You can clean up a used one and do the exact same thing. Normally, you should be able to find these on our wonderful little auction site right here for about $12. So no reason to spend $42 for a new one. That's a rip. You know, even new old stock, $15. That's about all that's worth. So don't get sucked in by this new old stock stuff. Now, a lot of times when we buy a machine, when we bought it from the previous owner, from an estate, from an auction, no matter what it is, a lot of times they'll come with a box of parts and accessories. Now, a good portion of the time, these parts are parts that have been replaced. You know, you may have, or the owner may have ordered a bunch of parts for it and then not needed everything, just like these, like this rod that we just looked at. So when you do that, normally the ones you replace, you know, you may have a few that you didn't replace that you throw in your parts box in case you might need them someplace since you already bought them. Not worth shipping back. And you also, when you replace them, normally you will take the parts you've taken off and put them back in that original packaging, because you're just a pack rat and you may need that someday. So, or somebody else may need one just to get them going. So here's a perfect example of this. And this, is what makes me have no respect for some of these sellers. And when I see this being done, especially from a seller that's been around a little while and knows what they're selling, I will never buy from these people again because they've misrepresented an item. And this is a perfect example of it here. This is a new old stock Atlas 7B metal shaper milling machine S747A tool post slide gib. Condition new, open box, new old stock, NOS, $37. Now, this is one of the angled gibs that goes on the tool post slide on the shaper. Go back and read the description. For sale, 7B metal shaper slide gib, new old stock item, never used, never used, never used, never used, never used. Bullshit. Okay, now if you've got a new seller that's just getting rid of something, or somebody that's selling their dad's stuff after he passed away, they may not know, so there can be some honest mistakes there. When we look at this picture on the back side, we've got quite a bit of corrosion on there, and I don't see any real markings on I see a little discoloration up here in the little indents that your gib adjustment screws set into and hold it in place. But it's kind of ugly on the backside. Now that, if it's sat in a bag on a shelf for 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be, if it's been a little bit wet, yeah, you can pick up a little bit of corrosion, and that may not be an issue. But you can also almost see a little bit of sliding, and this gib does not move, but when it was slid in and out, you see a little bit of a marking there. And when you look at the front side of this gib, you see striations all up and down that. That is not a never been used new old stock item. That is a used part. Looks like we've got a little bit of corrosion right there. You look at these striations going up and down all along here. That's from sliding along the mating surface. Or along the sliding surface that it's designed to slide against. This is a well used and abused part, So you've got somebody telling you that this is worth $42 and they are, or $37 and $4.95 shipping. This is a used part. I wouldn't buy this piece of crap. There's that. There we're showing in the bag. You can see even less there. And yes, it's in there. The bag's stapled shut. But that's a used part. I have no faith at all that is a used part. So consequently, this seller has kind of gone on my list, and I'm not going to buy from him. We go on down, same thing, same seller. He's got a S7-159 Ram shim, new open box, new old stock, NOS, $24. This is a piece of brass stock. This may be I don't even think this is a peel washer. It's shiny on the other side, so I don't know. For sale, steel ram shim, brass clad on one side, new old stock, never used. See factory. Will be mailed in the cardboard sleeve or box. So yeah, it would probably make it to you. $24 for a piece of brass shim stock. No, go order you a pack of shim stock and build your own here. This has got some markings on it. It's got quite a bit of staining. It may very well be new old stock. I can't say it isn't, but when you, if we look along here, this may just be shell staining type of thing. I can't honestly say, it looks a little dirty here on this side of it. I don't know, that part doesn't move. All it is acts as a shim spacer between the hold down clamps, or the ram clamp, and the casting itself, so it doesn't move. So maybe it's been installed, maybe it hasn't. It's got quite a bit of staining along, not really staining, but it's discolored there. Looks like it may have been cleaned up a little bit. So maybe it's new, maybe it's not. You see these markings here. That almost indicates to me like it's been clamped onto a machine someplace. Same seller. I avoid him like the plague. Now here there's about 3 or 4 more here from the same seller that I wanted to look at. Here's a tapered clapper pin. New open box, new old stock. If that's new old stock, that's such a piece of crap. Look at all this rust and staining on there. If it's new old stock, it's sat on a shelf, it's been wet, and it's certainly not worth the $28 they're asking for it. There again, the one you've got on your machine already, it's tapered, it's designed to slide on in. You can tighten those up and get your clapper tightened up a little bit if you need to, and call it good. Not worth 28 bucks. Rust bucket, that's what that is. That's a scrap metal pin worth 5 bucks. I'm not even going to read the description. Same way with the next one. New old stock, 7B metal shaper milling machine, S7 129, rod bushing, new open box, new old stock, and these all say new old stock. Now this may be a Zamac part. You know, some of these you'll see the white metal looks probably like it may be Zamac, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The reality is for the 25 bucks they want for it, you can go to your Ace Hardware, you can go to McMaster, you can go to any of the big box stores, buy a oil light bushing, flanged oil light bushing. Normally what you're going to find is going to be too long. You're going to have to turn down the center boss a little bit to get it the right length for 4 or 5 bucks. You know, don't fall for this old crap. That's kind of an ugly looking part. If it and I can't tell if it's been used or not. If it hasn't been used, it's been beat around. It's pretty well yucky looking. So yeah, don't waste your money there. Waste of money, and a seller that will tell you whatever you want to be told to get you to buy from him. Here's a set of wipers, S7 156L and 156 right, wiper retainer set. 36 bucks, new old stock. New old stock. When we look at these parts, and I looked at them a little bit closer, and if you feel the need, you can go back and look at them a little bit closer too. From this picture, it doesn't really tell me anything, and this could be, although these are pretty grungy to be new old stock. Look at all the staining here and everything. That looks kind of suspicious to me. There was a couple of pictures here. There again, has this been sandblasted off? You know, I honestly don't know. What I do know, and you can see it a little bit right here, looks like it's almost pinched a little bit right in that corner. That usually is, it's made contact with something. And when you look very closely there, that almost looks like there's been a screw in there. So I do not believe this is new old stock. I could be wrong, but I'm very doubtful that this is. That's been whacked right there. Let's see, let's look at this one a little bit closer here. Yeah, look at that corner right there. It looks like it's been corroded and cleaned up. Look at the top edge of that. That's been whacked against something. Usually when those are on a machine, they'll make contact with something that's not, it's a clearance issue with the ram. Usually you've over-traveled the ram to the rear, and the clapper box or that part of that compound assembly has whacked into that wiper retainer, and that's what that looks like has happened there. Dent on down in that, you know, from any number of things. Is this new old stock? I doubt it very much. You know, I feel like the seller is probably misrepresenting these, and I would stay away from them like the plague. Then we're on down into stuff that we've already looked at before. If we very quickly look at lathes. Thread dial 9-63 pre-owned, $28.99 or best offer and $5.95 shipping. That's about what those go for. That's a fair price. Now we've had, yeah, this is from a seller an eBayer that's been around for a while. He's got quite a bit of feedback there. That's a reasonable. Let's look at it a little bit closer and see what we got here. Yeah, it's definitely been used. You can see a little bit of wear on the teeth here. You can see either the paint chipped or something like that, and it's been cleaned up a little bit. You know, it would have been stained on the top. That's a reasonable cost for that part. You know, that's something that I wouldn't complain about that at all. I think that's what his descriptions say. as shown in pictures. Okay, it's not misrepresented. It's not been dolled up really or anything, and I think that's an honest thing. Tailstock ram screw. That's the same seller. If you need one, but why would you need one? I won't, I'm not going to beat up on that seller. It's not probably really. Now here we're getting into and this may be same seller. Craftsman 10-12-inch metal lathe, the reverse gearbox, 927 gear, 9-48B. Looks to be a good usable gear. It's been used. It's not, I've seen a whole lot worse for a whole lot more, but the price of $124 is really out of line. They're not worth that. This is one of those that you're picking up a used part. If you need this part and can buy it for $30, you've got a fair price. Some of these numbers, sellers will just pull a number out of their ass and think you're going to do it. I'm about done. I'm not going to go through much more of this stuff. 6-inch 618 101 metal lathe countershaft assembly, $184.99. No. Nope. Yeah, everything else is the same old crap we've kind of already talked about. "10-inch quick change gearbox assembly, assembly cover, $255. What's actually here? Okay, this looks like it may be a complete gearbox. Yeah, I believe this is probably a quick gearbox. Probably be okay if you need a gearbox. Got the end covers, it looks like. I don't know, converting these over to a quick change, in many instances it's a good thing. In others, why you're limiting your capabilities. You've got a little more capability out of a manual gear or a manual change gearbox. It's got one bit at $255. It's I wouldn't give more than $300 for one of these if I was in the market. These guys are trying to get $600 out of them, and they're not worth that. Yeah, here's a 10-inch lathe quick change gearbox conversion components, $849.95 and $88.28 shipping. Yeah, you people are smoking dope. And pretty much the rest of the stuff is stuff we've looked at before. So anyway, that's my little take for the day. Hopefully you find it interesting. Hopefully you find it entertaining. As I look at the metrics for the channel, why this little series that I've been doing, picking on people, is probably some of the most underperforming videos that I do. For right now, I'm going to continue to do them because I think they're worth noting. I think it's pointing out stuff like this is the only way we're going to get these prices back down to a reasonable cost so we can afford to have these machines in our shops. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. If you find it useful and haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Comments, suggestions, tips and tricks, leave them in the comments section for me below. And as always, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch.